Guys, breaking news. Logan Paul is a massive piece of shit. Who knew? I mean, I can't believe this. It's not like he's ever been in any major controversy before, right? Anyways, if you didn't know, Logan Paul is throwing a huge temper tantrum as things have not been going too well for him lately. Prime's profits are down over 90%, Lunchley is pretty much dead, and worst of all, he just got body slammed by Jelly Roll of all people.
He's locking in that big, powerful right hand. Jelly Roll escapes it. My, oh my, black hole slam! Oh my God! Boss man!
Now how does Logan Paul decide to cope with all of this? That's right, by taking it out on others, specifically those involved in the CryptoZoo lawsuits. Now the reason I say lawsuits is if you didn't know, there's actually 2 ongoing lawsuits relating to the CryptoZoo scam. The first of which is a class action lawsuit filed against Logan Paul for scamming his fans out of millions through the failure that is CryptoZoo. This lawsuit aims to make Logan pay back everyone who was scammed by CryptoZoo and was filed by Dom Holland. No, not the 29-year-old British man who pretends to be a teenager from Queens, that's Tom Holland. The second lawsuit is the defamation lawsuit filed by Logan Paul against Coffeezilla after Coffeezilla called him a scammer, which he most definitely is. The important thing to note is these 2 lawsuits are kind of intertwined, as if the class action lawsuit is won, that proves Logan Paul scammed his fans. If Logan Paul scammed his fans, then Coffeezilla wasn't lying when he called him a scammer, and the defamation lawsuit is also over. Now in this video I will be primarily covering the Coffeezilla lawsuit, but I just wanted to give this context as Dom Holland will come up again. Also, make sure you stay tuned as I will be covering a new document regarding this case that just dropped yesterday, July 30th. Now I want to say before we move on, I'm not a lawyer and do not claim to be one, but I'm going to do my best to go over the legal documents in this video. So now that you have some background, let's dive into what is really going on behind the scenes. To start off, we're going to be talking about Logan Paul's abuse of the subpoena system. As I mentioned, Dom Holland has an ongoing class action lawsuit against Logan Paul, but he is also a witness in the Coffeezilla case. Dom Holland has agreed to give deposition for Coffeezilla, and if you didn't know, deposition is a testimony given under oath, not at the time of trial, that can be used as evidence. Now remember, Logan Paul's life is falling apart, and this Dom Holland guy has a class action lawsuit against him, so what does Logan Paul decide to do? That's right, retaliate. Logan Paul and his legal team tried to drown Dom Holland in legal documents by making ridiculous requests. There has been multiple back and forth between the 2 parties arguing why or why not these requests are justified. The 5 requests that they made are on screen, and the ones that are overly broad are requests number 1, 3, and 5. Now, if you're interested in the full legal rebuttals Coffeezilla's lawyers had for these requests, it will be on page 4, 5, and 6 of the second document in the description, but I'm going to try and go over these in layman's terms. Request number 1. All non-privileged documents and communications concerning CryptoZoo, Logan Paul, and or Logan Paul's involvement with CryptoZoo and or the promotion of CryptoZoo-related cryptocurrency tokens or non-fungible tokens, NFTs. So this basically means Dom Holland would have to provide any and everything he has ever said or has saved about Logan Paul / CryptoZoo. This includes any time he ever commented on a video related to him, anytime he shit-talked him even if it was back in 2017, or even any videos he has saved of that one video from Japan.
I really hate to say this. I think there's someone hanging right there.
The most ridiculous part is that Logan Paul should already have access to all the documents he needs relating to Dom Holland, since he already has a class action lawsuit with this guy. There is no reason to request all these documents other than to make them waste their time and make their lives miserable. Moving on to the next problem request, request number 3. All non-privileged documents and communications relating to purchases or sales of CryptoZoo-related cryptocurrency, tokens, or NFTs, including all potential purchases or sales considered by you. Now you may ask me, why is this a problem? This is a CryptoZoo-related lawsuit after all. But the issue is they aren't just asking for proof of when Dom bought and sold CryptoZoo. They want every message, email, or note where he ever even considered buying or selling them. That means if Dom Holland once texted a friend, hey, maybe I should sell this shit, they want it. The issue is, this has almost nothing to do with the defamation lawsuit against Coffeezilla. Coffeezilla is being sued for calling Logan a scammer. Whether Dom Holland thought about selling his tokens doesn't change that. What this does look like is a way to sidestep the class action discovery process. In the class action case, Logan already has to deal with evidence about CryptoZoo sales and purchases. Here they're just trying to make Dom repeat work and get anything they might have not been able to in the class action suit. This is just done to run up costs and waste time. The last and biggest issue is with the request number 5 here. all non-privileged documents and communications relating to your purchases of cryptocurrency and or cryptocurrency-related produces other than CryptoZoo-related cryptocurrency tokens or NFTs. They are literally asking him to produce every message, picture, document, post, or whatever he has ever made relating to cryptocurrency. And remember, this is a crypto bro we were talking about, and he never shut up about this stuff. He probably has 1,000 posts in r/Dogecoin alone. This all has nothing to do with CryptoZoo, and what makes this funnier is their justification for why they need all this. Quote, Holland alleged in the class action complaint that he began purchasing various cryptocurrencies in 2016, years before he claims he purchased CryptoZoo-related cryptocurrency in 2021. It is anticipated that defendants will seek to elicit testimony from Holland to the effect that he was duped or defrauded when the CryptoZoo-related cryptocurrencies he purchased lost value. Documents evidencing Holland's experience purchasing cryptocurrencies are relevant to refute that testimony and to show that any sophisticated purchaser of cryptocurrencies would be well aware of the potential to lose money, as cryptocurrency prices tend to be highly volatile. Yeah, cryptocurrency prices are volatile, and yeah, you can lose a lot of money with them. The issue is if you make a cryptocurrency specifically for a fucking game, and the game you promised never comes out. This is like Supercell announcing they're making Clash of Clans 2, selling Clash of Clans gems early, and then canceling the game and not giving a refund. The whole point of this cryptocurrency was for the CryptoZoo game, and it lost value because that game never came out. As if all this wasn't enough, Logan Paul decided he wanted to drown them in travel bills as well. Coffeezilla wanted to use witness testimony from 3 people who were scammed by CryptoZoo, and he wanted to do this via Zoom as they all live internationally. Now, this shouldn't be an issue as both sides have already filed to use remote testimony for their respective experts in this court case, but because they're going to give testimony that makes Logan Paul look bad, his team is trying to block this. Let's read the unsworn declaration of one of the victims. Sorry if I messed up this name, by the way. I, Duarte Campos de Oliveira, declare as follows. 1. I am over the age of 18, of sound mind, and am competent to make this declaration. The facts stated in this declaration are based on my own personal knowledge and are true and correct to the best of my knowledge. I would and could competently testify to these facts if called as a witness. 2. I'm a victim of Logan Paul's CryptoZoo scam. 3. I am willing to testify in this case without a subpoena. 4. I live in Portugal. 5. Portugal is approximately 4,986 miles or 8,024 kilometers from San Antonio, Texas. A flight from Portugal to San Antonio, Texas would cost at least $1,200 round trip and would require more than 30 hours of travel time. I would also have to take time away from work, which I cannot afford to do. 6. I cannot afford to purchase a flight to San Antonio, Texas from Portugal and for lodging accommodations to attend an in-person deposition. 7. I am willing and available to testify in this case via Zoom. I'm also prepared to share documentation at the Zoom deposition to verify my identity. I declare under penalty of perjury under the laws of the United States of America that the foregoing is true and correct. So from this declaration, 2 things are obvious. The first is, the testimony of Duarte and the other 2 victims would not reflect well on Logan Paul. The second thing is, traveling for these victims would be a huge issue. It would cost them thousands of dollars in travel expenses, over a day in travel time, and on top of that, all the time in court. They would have to spend 2 days here as they would have to spend 8 hours in deposition from each side, leading to 2 extra days of lodging costs. So to sum it up, Logan Paul scammed these 3 victims out of thousands of dollars via CryptoZoo, and now wants to take thousands more through travel fees and wasted time. Logan Paul, you are a fucking scumbag, and I hope you know that. Now, what I just showed you was from a document submitted on July 30th, where Coffeezilla's team argued that Logan Paul's team trying to shut down the remote deposition of these 3 victims was unfair and done solely to cause increased costs to their side. Here we have a brand new document submitted yesterday, July 30th. This document outlines the arguments of Logan Paul's lawyers protesting the virtual deposition. As this document is brand new, I have not seen any professional go over how this affects the case, so I'm going to try and explain everything myself, but I may be wrong or missing some things, and once again, I'm not a lawyer. Now, in this document, Logan Paul's lawyers make some good arguments, and the first one we must address is here. Quote, defendants seek to take remote deposition of 2 individuals in Portugal and 1 individual who resides in New Zealand, but they make no effort to demonstrate that Zoom depositions are permissible in those countries. As to the 2 Portugal deponents at least, the answer is clear. Voluntary remote deposition of individuals in Portugal are not permitted, and depositions can only occur in the context of a Portugal court proceeding that has been properly instituted under an international law. Now, this is true. If we go over to the U.S. Department of State Bureau of Consular Affairs, we see, quote, The Portuguese Central Authority has informed the Hague Conference on Private International Law that depositions in Portugal of Portuguese and third country nationals may occur only in a Portuguese court proceeding. So, it's over, right? No, not necessarily. If we look below that, we see, quote, the attorney in the United States seeking assistance should send a letter of request in English and Portuguese, 2 copies of each, directly to the Portuguese Central Authority. This procedure is completely under the control of the Portuguese judiciary. Now, the way that you would do this is by filing what's known as a Hague request, and as you can see on the website, if we open Obtaining Evidence in Civil and Commercial Matters, you see, is Portugal a party to the Hague Convention of Taking Evidence Abroad in Civil and Commercial Matters? Yes. So yes, Coffeezilla still can remotely depose these witnesses, but it's going to be a much more lengthy and expensive process than before. First, he must file a Hague request, which can take 3 to 9 months, and then must be accepted by a Portuguese judge. If it is then accepted by a Portuguese judge, the Portuguese judge must give the deposition themselves, meaning Coffeezilla's lawyers, forfeit all ability to directly give a deposition. All of this is extremely expensive and time-consuming, and it seems like Coffeezilla's current options are to fly out these Portuguese victims or deal with this lengthy legal procedure. Thankfully, these restrictions don't apply to the witness from New Zealand. However, the witness from New Zealand would need a legal notary present during the deposition based on this part here. Quote, under the federal rules, foreign deposition must be conducted with the witness physically present before an official who is authorized to administer an oath of truthfulness in the jurisdiction in which the deponent is located. Having a legal notary present is much easier and cheaper than filing a Hague request, but is still expensive. Based on my findings, it seems that Logan Paul may have legal standing to deny these witnesses, or at least make it incredibly expensive to depose them. Now, just because he has the legal grounds to do this, the only reason to do this is to drag out the case in order to make it more difficult and expensive for the defendants to continue. In other words, Logan Paul is being a complete bitch. As if all of this wasn't enough to show how Logan Paul is using his wealth to silence the critics and bully the victims of CryptoZoo, I'm going to pull up some of his text messages that were released as part of this court case. These messages show how Logan Paul is trying to abuse the legal system to get retribution against those who oppose him. Our first conversation takes place December 21st, 2022 and goes as follows. Logan Paul, lawyering up, suing this motherfucker into the ground. Unidentified friend, then everything will come out. Court docs public. Logan Paul, so everyone will see what happens for better or for worse. Yeah, Logan, everything is coming out, and it was definitely for the worse. This all makes you look fucking terrible. I don't understand how he thought everything coming out was going to be good for him. Like, who says, I'm going to sue this motherfucker in the ground, then assumes messages like this being released are going to reflect well on him. Logan Paul is a man so deluded by his massive ego it is insane. Our next conversation takes place on December 27, 2022. Unidentified friend, to let others know it's not worth coming at you. There's a price to pay. Logan Paul, that's the idea. Need to shut it down. Do you guys even read your own messages? Talking about showing them how it's not worth coming after you and there's a price to pay. You literally sound like a 13-year-old after they just got bullied. Although I guess I shouldn't be surprised, as Logan Paul is literally a 13-year-old in a 30-year-old's body. Based on these messages, I'm finally starting to understand how Logan Paul got such a massive ego it makes Queso look anorexic. It's by surrounding himself with yes men who will give him a gawk gawk 9000 anytime he speaks. I know Logan Paul just had a kid with his wife, but his wife should check his phone to see if there's Grindr on it, the way his friend seems to be dick riding in this conversation. The conversation continues with the unidentified friend saying public humiliation is always more effective, and Logan Paul saying I totally agree. Logan Paul, the only one getting publicly humiliated here is you. I feel like this may have been your master plan all along though. You're secretly into this and have just been hate thread farming to get more gooning material. I mean, that does seem right up your alley. The conversation ends with Logan Paul sending the message just to make his life difficult. Just to make his life difficult. You think the judge is going to look at all this and everything you've done to drag out the court and say, no, yeah, this is actually a totally justified lawsuit? No, obviously not. You're just doing this to hurt those you don't like. I feel like abusing the legal system should have more repercussions, as it doesn't seem fair to me that it's this easy to force somebody into a war of attrition using money. Our next conversation takes place on January 6, 2023, and just for some context, this is the day before Logan Paul took down his video criticizing Coffeezilla, and 2 days before he made his apology due to backlash. Logan Paul, Zilla will pay, one way or another. I'll make sure of it. I want people who wronged me to suffer, while I continue getting wins on their grave. This sounds like something a child would write. I don't know what else to say. This idiot literally thought he was going to crush Coffeezilla in his response video, and then starts talking about how I want to make people suffer while I continue getting wins on their grave. Meanwhile, the next day he ran away like a dog with his tail between his legs, taking down the response video. The only grave here is that of Prime, since your company is going to be bankrupt in 6 months, the way sales are looking. That's pretty much all I've got for today's video, and if you watched all the way to the end, I really appreciate it, and I would appreciate it even more if you could consider hitting that like button. I don't have much else to say other than one more big fuck you, Logan Paul, and all documents that I used will be linked in the description. Have a good one, and peace.